Hello and welcome back to this course of videos on MongoDB. In this video we'll continue to discuss how to optimize your customer experience once you have deployed your Mongo database to a production server. And one of the ways you can do that is through replication. Now replication can help you with availability. Obviously we want our servers to be available for requests as close to 100% as possible, but it can also help with reducing latency, so increasing the speed of requests, and I'll show you how it does that over the course of this video. So with replication, there is always one primary instance of Mongo. If you remember, MongoDB is the name of the service that controls your Mongo database. So there's always one primary, and there can be as many secondaries as you feel is appropriate. So your client, which would be something like your application server, right? Could be a Node server, PHP server. By default, all of the reads and writes will be against the primary server, the primary instance of Mongo. Now, that primary database will then write to the op log, the OP log, which is basically a list of transactions. Now this op log will then communicate out to the op logs for your secondary servers, your secondary Mongo instances, and then these op logs will update and basically create exact replicas. Now we'll mention sharding in a little while, but sharding is very different. This is just creating exact replicas of your primaries, like complete 100% redundancy. So we talked about maximizing accessibility. So what will happen is if your primary server goes down, the primary will switch to one of your secondary servers. So one of your secondary servers will take up the job of being the primary server. So let's say this one went down, this one here would become my primary, then all of my read writes would then be going to this new primary server, so my customers don't have any interruption. So that's how replication can maximize availability. In terms of minimizing latency and increasing the speed of these read requests that are happening to your primary, this is only for read requests. You can do this, but you can actually configure your servers that instead of always reading from the primary, if one of these secondaries is closer to the client, then the read can happen from the secondary server. Again, like I said, this is just for reads. So obviously the closer your database is to your client, the lower the latency is going to be, and the quicker the requests are going to happen. So this is replication. I'm going to quickly compare that and contrast it against sharding. You'll often hear replication and sharding together, but they are very different. Like I said, with replication here, you've got complete copies, 100% redundancy, complete copies of your primary. With sharding, what you're actually doing is you're taking your entire database and sharing it among different servers. There's no concept of primary and secondary like there is here. There's basically just multiple primaries. And let's say I have 3 different collections like I did previously. I had my customers collection, I have my products collection, and I think I have my customers emails collection. You could have one collection on each server, and then you would have a router and a config server which makes sure which looks at the request and then routes it to the applicable server. So like I said, this is very different to replication where we have 100% redundancy. Sharding is splitting out your collections across different databases and routing them accordingly. So I hope this gives you a good idea of replication and sharding. So sharding, again, horizontal scaling. We talked about it in earlier videos. So I hope it gives you a good insight into that. And this is actually the last video in this series, so I hope you enjoyed the series. And I look forward to seeing you again in another series. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.